Welcome everyone. We'll get started. There is pizza. I know that's why you're really all here. But before we get to that, you are going to have to listen to myself for a little bit. You'll have to listen to a couple of other people who I'll introduce to you shortly as well. But welcome. This is an information session about honours and a little bit about masters as well. My name is Paul Lasky. I am the honours coordinator. So if you do honours next year, you'll get to know me quite well. I'll be looking after you. I recognise a lot of faces here already. I've taught probably many of you in first year, although that was probably online, and let's never go back to doing that again. And a number of you in third year as well. So we are going to tell you a lot about sort of the process for honours, a little bit about how to apply and all of these kinds of things. And then after that, there will hopefully be pizza. It's been ordered. It'll be on its way. Just let me know how much I need to fill, Jean. And then we'll have pizza, but it's more to the point. It's an opportunity to mingle with all of the academics who are eagerly keen to talk to you about them having you come and do projects with them, okay? So we've got lots of different academics from across the school. We'll talk today about what that means, what the different sort of research strengths of the school are, and what some of the possibilities are for honours. But then it's a case of going out, talking not just to academics, but also there's a lot of PhD students here. I know a lot of the honours students from this year are coming as well, mainly just for the free pizza, but hopefully they'll mingle as well. And so it's a good opportunity to sort of really find out what honours is like, what the possibilities are. Okay, so before we get too deep into things, I am fighting very hard not to make a political statement, given everything that happened over the weekend. So all I will say is that we wish to acknowledge the people of the Kulin Nation whose lands we're gathered today, and we pay our respects to their elders, past and present. And we will just leave it at that, and we'll look to move forward with everything that's happening in the country at the moment. With that said, we do have a head of school, Stefan Meyer. He is not here today. He had to travel away on some urgent business. Our deputy head of school, Amanda Caracas, is going to introduce herself and say a few words as well.
Thanks, Paul. Thank you. Really neat, perhaps, but they're appreciated. So I'm Amanda Caracas. I'm the Deputy Head of School, acting Head of School while Stefan's away. He's in Argentina, I believe, so he's there for research. So I am an astrophysicist within the School of Physics and Astronomy, as well as being the Deputy Head. Really, what I just want to say to you today is just to welcome you to the School of Physics and Astronomy. This is really your opportunity to learn a little bit about the Honours and Masters program for 2024. So Paul Lasky is the Honours Coordinator. He will give you information that you need about how Honours runs. It is a fun, intense year. I think everyone who experiences it comes out the other end and they usually think, I love research. It's the research component of Honours that is just really enjoyable. So what you're here today is to learn about the research in our school. So we cover everything from physics education research, quantum physics, the physics of imaging. There's also high energy and particle physics, and of course, astronomy and astrophysics. There are a lot of posters up in the room, and a lot of our staff are here. These staff are your potential supervisors. So please, after we're done with all this talking, I hopefully won't be that long, and then you have some pizza, walk around, talk to your potential project supervisors, and learn about our research. We do all sorts of research, and hopefully some of it will inspire you in your honours year. So this is really all I wanted to say. I really wanted to welcome you to our school. Please take the time to walk around and say hello. I'll certainly try and do that myself. So welcome, and I'll hand over to Paul for the rest of the proceedings.
Awesome. Thanks, Amanda. Okay, so I'll just mention there is a chance to ask questions as a group at the end as well. So if anything urgent does come up, then please throw your hand up, but we will have time at the end. So Honours and Masters are separated into coursework and research components, okay? So particularly with Honours, your entire second semester is devoted to nothing but doing research. So it's really important to sort of pick a supervisor, pick a project that you're really excited about doing. So what I wanted to start off doing in that vein is talking about the different research groups that we have in the school and what they do. And Amanda's already alluded to this. I've got QR codes throughout this presentation which link to the websites that are up there. These slides will be circulated later along with the recording as well, so don't feel like you need to take photos or do anything now. But we do have 5 research groups: astrophysics, particle physics, physics of imaging, physics education research, and QLIME. Their name is far too long to just say straight up. So just to start off with, astrophysics is somewhat self-explanatory. I'm actually the head of the astrophysics group, but we have a lot of the astronomers and astrophysicists in the room today. We cover a lot of different fields, including observational astronomy, high-energy astrophysics, computational astrophysics, gravitational wave astronomy, things like exoplanets, planetary dynamics, planetary formation, supernova explosion, stars, stellar nucleosynthesis. The list goes on. Okay, so there's a lot of posters up around the room covering all of this broad area. We have something like 12 or 13 faculty. We have something like around about 20 potential supervisors for you if you're interested. So get around and chat if you're interested in anything to do with astronomy and astrophysics. We have particle physics. Where is Ulrich? Waving his hand right up the back. This is Ulrich. He's the head of the particle physics group. A lot of things to do with the standard model, quantum chromodynamics, and also beyond the standard model physics. Big links into LHC and experiments along those lines. And also there's a component that does have significant overlap with astrophysics in terms of astroparticle physics and cosmology as well. Physics of imaging. Joe is our new member of the school. Joe's waving up the back. Everyone turn around and wave back. Excellent. Joe is a new member just as of a couple of months ago, a Laureate Fellow, which is an incredibly prestigious fellowship. But the Physics of Imaging group does a lot of things to do with optics, diffraction physics, imaging sciences. They use the synchrotron an awful lot, nanophotonics and meta-optics, which is something that the head of school, Stefan Meyer, is heavily involved with as well, and a lot more. So again, lots of posters up around the room. Get around. They've one-upped the rest of the research groups. You'll see there's little blue banners on the top of the posters. They didn't tell us they were doing that. There's competition within the groups now. Physics of Education Research is our new group. Anna Phillips is standing up the back or sitting on the table. Everyone wave again. People don't turn around in time. There's Anna. Physics Education Research, practices and processes of physics, really about studying how students learn physics and the best practice in terms of ways in which we can teach physics, predominantly at tertiary level, but also at secondary level and things along those lines. Equitable classrooms in terms of supporting diverse learners and things along those lines. Anna is a new faculty member along with Ishvan Laszlo, so get around and have a chat to them. They've got a poster over here as well. And then finally, QLIME, Quantum Light Information Matter and Electronics. Too much to say, so it's just QLIME. Mira Parrish, where's Mira? Mira's standing just next to Joe and in between him. Okay, and they study things like atomic, nuclear, and condensed matter physics. A lot of things to do with quantum computing and information theory, ultra cold gases, and quantum sensors. Again, posters up all around the room, so please get around and have a chat. So, within all of these research groups, we have a lot of different sort of potential projects and potential supervisors. We list some of these on our website. And so again, here's the QR code. There's the actual website URL. Here's just a couple of examples that I brought. I had this one from last year. Kay got promoted, so it's Associate Professor Kay Morgan. This is the typical thing that you see when you log in when you go into this page. Okay, so it gives a little bit of a blurb under every researcher that you can potentially study with. And it also gives some example projects, okay? It is fair to say that these are example projects, okay? And once you start talking to an academic, you'll find out they have a lot more breadth than often what's written here. These are just guides that really will look to tailor projects towards just things that you're interested in, your specific skill sets, what you want to get out of the year, plus, what's state of the art of the literature. We might have written this 3 months ago and all of a sudden something's moved along, something else has happened and we need to jump on it and things like that. So that's part of being at the cutting edge. What it means is you read all of this, you go, oh, I'm interested in this science in general, I'm going to send Kay an email, okay? So Kay works on X-ray optics, phase and dark field imaging, medical imaging, things along those lines. Just a couple more examples. I had to put up the head of school, got to put up the boss even though he's not here, we're still recording this. But Stefan Meyer is definitely looking for honours students. Nanophotonics, plasmonics, metasurfaces, really, really cool stuff to do with holography and really on the nanoscale, how you can manipulate images and things along those lines. And finally, I mentioned Anna before, but here's what Anna's little blurb looks like. It's all about physics education, history and philosophy of science, improving student experience, and things along those lines. And she's got a great sort of long-term study going of students within the school and things along those lines. So, there's a lot of different opportunities. Again, this is a guide and this is how you should see it. This is the kinds of things people work on, and it's a case of heading out and just talking to them. They don't bite normally. Right. You're probably wondering about the application process. It's reasonably easy. There's a 5-step process because anything should have a 5-step process. One is just to check your eligibility, okay? Now, if you're unsure about eligibility, please get in touch with me, all right? We can confirm anything around eligibility, requirements and things along those lines. There is some flexibility in there, okay? So it sort of says that you need a 70 average in four level 3 units, okay? But those 4 level 3 units don't have to all be physics and astrophysics. So they can come from cognate disciplines and there's a little bit of wiggle room there. So for example, we can use a maths unit. We could potentially use a computer science unit, things along those lines, okay? So if you're unsure whether you meet these eligibility requirements, please shoot me an email, all right? If you're confused about anything else at all, either send myself an email or Jean Pettigrew. Jean, Jean's waving. Jean is our amazing honours and graduate student coordinator in the school, and basically she is just the person who solves every single problem that we all have, and we can't live without her. So, step 1, eligibility. Step 2, supervisor and research project. The reason we require you to do that at step 2 is that when you put in your school application, you need to put down preferences for supervisors. Okay, you will not necessarily get your first preference. Okay, we try and sort of divide it up evenly. We make sure that Amanda's a really popular supervisor. We're not going to let Amanda have 5 honours students next year and someone else have none and things along those lines, okay? So we do, so there is a possibility you won't get your first preference. Most people do, but we do sort of look at that. So we want you to have approached supervisors, talk to them, get them to say, yes, I'm happy to take you on, okay? That's a really important part of this. And then there's a school application to fill in and a faculty application, okay? And then the final thing is to consider the scholarships, which I'll talk about very shortly. Okay, so this process it's reasonably straightforward. This is just a screenshot from the website. You basically click on these buttons, it drops down with all of the instructions and it's pretty easy to follow through. But again, if you have any problems, if you're confused, just shoot myself an email or shoot Jean an email. I'll talk about scholarships in a little bit. So what does honours look like? It's 2 semesters, obviously. The first semester, you do coursework, okay, and you do 3 + 3 units. Yes, that's 6, very good. But what that means is you do 3 units in the first lot of 6 weeks, then we stop, you do exams for those 3 units, and then you do the next lot of 3 units, okay? So that's just to make sure that you're only doing 3 units at any given time. They're intensive, All right, so you have approximately 3-ish contact hours per week for each of those units, but they're pretty detailed. And I'll talk you through what those units are very shortly. Those units, the 6 units, add up to 45% of your overall grade. All right. At the same time, you do a literature review. That's due at the end of first semester. That literature review is on the topic of your project and thesis. Okay, so what the design of this is really to make sure that during that lit review, during that first semester, yes, you're doing coursework that may or may not be related to your project, but at the same time, you're ticking over the project and you're really trying to understand the background material for your project, and then you write that up as a lit review towards the end of first semester, or sort of, it's after first semester classes are finished, okay, during that exam period, and you submit that, and that's worth 5% of your whole grade. In semester 2, we do a final seminar, okay, and that is just about your project work, okay? So you'll notice semester 2 is just project. You are researchers at this point in your life, okay? You will just work on your project. So the final seminar is 5%. We've got a couple honours students who are going to talk to you very shortly about the whole honours experience. They might be a bit stressed about this. It's next week. Stressed? Looking forward to it. Looking forward to it? Excellent. That's 5%. 5%. That's like a 20-minute talk. And then finally, project and thesis makes up 45%. So that is basically the assessment. At the end of the year, you hand in a very big thesis, probably the biggest piece of work that you've ever done, and that makes up 45% of your overall grade. I will say, so this is the honours structure, okay? It's worth mentioning, if anyone's sort of interested in masters, is Bernard in the room? Yep. Come forward, Bernard. This is Bernard Mueller. He's the Masters Coordinator. The Masters structure, Masters is 2 years, okay?
The Masters program. So the Masters program, the difference about the Masters program, at the most basic level, it's, as Paul said, a 2-year program. So why would you want to do a 2-year program? So the reason is that, well, you get more thorough grounding in coursework, you have more time for your research project in second year, and that might make you more competitive in the long run for getting into a PhD program, especially overseas, where some institutions might expect students to have gone through a 5-year program in total. Now, for you, so if you are a domestic student, which is, I think, probably the majority in the room. I should probably say that most of our domestic students who go into PhDs in the long run, yeah, if that's your goal, they will do that right after their honours year, right? So in fact, for domestic students, actually the market is such that most of them will just go into honours. Yeah, but the master's program is an option for you that you can talk about also during your 4th year. So what you can do is you can do the honours year, and then you can decide whether it's worth doing that second year for you, yeah, or whether you already decide to do something with your 4th year degree, yeah. So the generic advice is that for most people in the room, if you're interested in going beyond 3rd year, go into the honours program, then you might decide at the end of the honours program whether it's worth switching into the master's program. There might be certain cases which we should discuss on a case basis with Paul and myself, where it might make sense to you, where it might be better to go into the master's program. One of the important considerations here is that for domestic students, so we have to talk about money at some point, domestic students, for you, honours is the cheaper option, right? For honours, we have Commonwealth supported places. For the master's program, we don't, so you have to pay the master's fees, which are quite high. I have been told, but this is unconfirmed and I have no detailed information on this yet, that there will be a small selected number of Commonwealth supported places for masters next year, but as I said, no details yet from the faculty. They've just told me that at an event last time. And the safest advice to you, if you're interested in going on to do an advanced degree, first talk to Paul. Yeah, talk about honors. And then if we think, well, for some reason, masters is the better option right away, then Paul will put you in touch with me or with Michael Morgan, who's also coordinating this program. He's just on long service leave right now. And if you're interested after your 4th year in actually doing another year, you think you just haven't learned enough about general relativity and quantum mechanics, you want to do more about superfluid, you want to learn more in coursework about superfluidity, advanced general relativity, high energy astrophysics, and so on, then you always have the option to do that. You can switch from however you're doing your 4th year, you can switch into the 2nd year of the master's program. That's something that we can arrange. So in that sense, that's not an option that you need to worry about very much at this moment. You can worry about it when the time comes, yeah, either when you sign up for 4th year or during 4th year.
Okay, so you notice that the first year of the master's structure is almost identical to the honours structure, which enables us to do that, have that process where you go from honours and through into masters. But if you're unsure, again, talk to myself, talk to Bernard. We can help you out. So we offer a bunch of units throughout this coursework. As I mentioned, weeks 1 to 6, you do 3 units. Then weeks 7 to 12, you do 3 other units, okay? So the first sort of batch, if you're enrolled in physics, you must do quantum mechanics. We see that as compulsory, but then you've got a choice between all of these other units. So data analysis, electrodynamics and field theory, X-ray optics, nanophotonics, and meta-optics. If you're enrolled in astrophysics, there is no compulsory unit, but you've got the choice of 3 between computational astrophysics, data analysis, advanced observational astronomy, or stellar astrophysics part 1. It is worth noting that if you are, for example, enrolled in astrophysics and you want to do 2 astrophysics and 1 physics unit, then we can arrange that on approval and things like that. So this is not completely strict as well. You'll notice the whole thing with honours is that we can be quite flexible with a bunch of things. That's the weeks 1 to 6 offering. Then weeks 7 to 12, we have a machine learning course, quantum field theory, statistical mechanics, and condensed matter physics. Okay, and then in the astrophysics, machine learning, you'll notice machine learning goes over both. That's just to say it's offered both as the same course, okay? Machine learning, general relativity, stellar astrophysics part 2, and order of magnitude astrophysics, okay? So we've got a really good range of choice of units throughout. You know, as I said, you do 3 from each half of the semester. This is something that it's absolutely worth down the track discussing with your supervisor. What units should you be doing? What units are you most interested in? All of these kinds of things. And of course, I'm always here for that discussion too. And close to the time, we'll, can get you in touch with the individual lecturers of all of these individual units so that you can sort of have a chat with them and understand a bit about what's in the course and things along those lines. Okay. But these are our broad offerings. Just to say that the 2nd year of the Masters, we have a bunch of advanced courses as well. So if you go on to 2nd year Masters, things like advanced quantum mechanics, quantum field theory 2, nanophotonics and meta-optics, a lot of these are sort of being double badged as both honours and Masters courses. So if you haven't done them in the first year of your honours, first year of your Masters, then you can do them in the 2nd year and things along those lines. And in terms of astrophysics, high energy astrophysics, advanced general relativity, the more advanced version of the other one, radiation astrophysics, again, order of magnitude astrophysics is double badged. And then there are just some special topics where basically they're a bit more like a reading course and things like that. Okay. All right. I mentioned I'd talk about scholarships. So this is the last bit of heavy information that you're going to get. There are broad university-wide scholarships. Again, go to the QR code, go to the sort of scholarships page. You can link through. But the ones that are most relevant to us are called the J.L. Williams Honours Scholarship. Okay. They're valued at $6,000 each. Applications will open early 2024. There's 2 schemes here. There's what we call an achievement scholarship, and that's awarded to our top 3 applicants. Okay, so our top 3 applicants for that get a scholarship. And there's what we call an equity scholarship. And so basically, any women, trans women, gender, diverse, Indigenous students enrolled in honours automatically get that scholarship. Yep.
Theoretically, presuming you met the category for the 2nd, could you get both?
No. You can just have one. Nice try. Nice try. We should stipulate that explicitly. Yeah, so you automatically get the equity scholarship if you are eligible, and then everyone else vies for the top 3 ranked applicants. All right, now honours. It's not only about assessments. We've given you a lot of information and a lot of it will have gone over your heads. That's okay. You've got loads of time. This is more about a mingling session today and things like this. But it is really just worth saying that honours is much more about just doing assessments, just having to write a thesis, just doing research, all of those kinds of things. So weekly meetings with your honours coordinator, like it or not, you'll be stuck in a room with me for an hour. We go through general issues like time management, project design, or lots of different meta things. But more importantly, and probably more fun, is you get to be really a part of the department. And so what this means is we have regular seminars, regular colloquia. We have every couple of weeks, we have broad physics colloquia. Most of the different research group have various research seminars that go on every couple of weeks when people come in from, when people come in, guests from other universities and things like that. Individual groups have various group meetings. For example, my gravitational wave group, we meet once a week just as a group. We have a telecom with other groups around the country every week, things along those lines. There are journal clubs. We've just gone through some practice talks and things like this. And of course, some self-organized things. The honours cohort, you get a desk. Okay, so you'll be sitting over in New Horizons. Every honours student and master student gets a desk. So you really actually do become this cohort. You become, hopefully, Imogen and Cooper are going to back this up, a group of friends who are there supporting each other and working really closely with each other throughout the year. And that's something that's really important and something that we really do see as important for the honours year. So it is worth saying all of this stuff is really important to getting you to feel a part of the department, part of the school, a part of the university. And this is something that we really do encourage. But I will just say, don't just take my word for it. I promised I'd introduce you to 2 current honours students. So we have Imogen Stevenson and Cooper Finnegan. Who's going to go first? They're going to tell you a bit about their experience in the year. Bear in mind, they're not done yet, so they could still be graded down. No, I'm just joking. So, I'm joking.
So, yeah, I am a honours student who's very close to finishing, and I've got a couple things I want to say about the honours program. As Paul said, yes, it is intense. It is probably the most intense year of your academic career thus far, but it's also easily the most rewarding. Even the content bit, which is probably the bit that gets the most complaints, is still really good. I think it's the first time where if you've done research through undergraduate, maybe content's pretty divorced from your actual research project until maybe you get to 3rd year. In honours, it actually feels quite connected. It feels like, oh, these are skills and techniques that I'm going to use to solve research problems in my research project. So it feels very, very valuable. Again, you get a nice fancy desk and a very fancy office, and you do build that sort of cohort, friendship group, and you work on problems together as well. Even in your own research projects, a lot of the time you'll just talk to other people who are on your desk row or just in the office in general about your research and about how to solve particular problems. And that experience is really valuable because they obviously provide a different perspective on how to solve problems. And yeah, easily the most rewarding year of your academic career, and obviously sets you up very well for a PhD. I think in particular, the research component is basically what it's like to be a PhD student. So if you are maybe tossing up about doing a PhD, do that research component, and if you really enjoy that, definitely give that a go and apply.
Thank you, Cooper.
Hello, I am Imogen. I am also doing honours this year. I really recommend doing honours. Cooper just talked about if you're tossing up about doing a PhD. The reason why I chose honours, it wasn't to do honours, it was never a question, is simply because I really love physics and I loved to do it. My undergrad, I did I'm still technically enrolled in a double degree. I did law as well, and I'm doing law. But physics for me was always like the guilty pleasure. So actually, which is a funny thing to say. So I would actually encourage you to think about honors not just in terms of like your career, but it's actually a great opportunity to just do something new. If you've ever had a part of physics that you've been like even slightly interested in, it's such a fantastic opportunity to just go a little bit deeper. And it's a great way to explore more about what you may want to do. I think a lot of people think of people continuing their studies in physics as being like very sure of what they want to do and they love it so much and they're going to do it, all the way to PhD, become a professor. Whereas I think that honors is really something useful if you just want to see what it's like. Another thing that Cooper also raised that I definitely support, and Paul also said this, is that the people are amazing. And I mean, you're kind of doing the same classes at the same time, so it's a bit like of a school vibe, but also you're all doing completely different independent projects. So you kind of get a sense of the diversity that can exist when everyone's left to do like their own thing. You have people doing astrophysics, like quantum physics, like classical, you have all these different things, experimental versus theoretical. So not just with the students, but actually with the staff as well, because you get to actually see that. You get to go into the labs, you get to talk to people about their actual research. So you kind of break that fourth wall with Monash a little bit. And it's just a really fun experience, the entire thing. So yeah, do it.
Thank you very much to both of you. So I think Imogen and Cooper are going to be around if you want to sort of ask them specific questions about honours. I saw a couple of honours students, Liam and Rao are here and maybe some others. So they'll give you the real truth about, I've asked them to tone down the real truth, but they'll give you some form of truth. And there's also a bunch of PhD students who are mingling around who, did honours not long ago, sometimes just sort of last year and things like that. So that is everything that I have. I Googled physics pizza and that was the only image that I could come up with. So thank you for giving a token laugh. But how far off are the pizzas? Because we've got time for questions. They're here. So anyone who's going to ask a question is going to stand in between you and the pizza. But go ahead, Ada. You had did you want to kick?
Colloquia.
Colloquia is just like another word for seminar that we just use interchangeably, and colloquia are just sort of bigger. Question at the back.
I've looked at the honours at UNED and the subject lists that it had on the website are different to the ones that you showed then.
Yes. So for anyone who didn't hear, the subjects listed are listed on the websites are different to the ones that I showed then. They were different, but they were changed yesterday to now reflect that list. So hit refresh on your browser. That's the up-to-date list, and I'm very sorry that we've, for various reasons, which are all positive, we've rejigged some of the things. Yeah, and I can talk to people individually about that. But
how does mid-year intake work?
How does mid-year intake work? Great question. So anyone who's interested in mid-year intake, we have every now and then we do have, so I think this year we have one mid-year intake. Last year we had one student doing a mid-year intake as well. Basically what happens is because we only run coursework in semester one, it means a mid-year intake, you come in and you start on your research project straight away. So at the end of that, your first semester, which is second semester, you have to submit your lit review, okay? But that's it. Then at the end of your second semester, which is the end of semester one the following year, you do your coursework and you have to submit your research project. Now, in principle, what that means is you get extra time for your research project because there's that entire extended, quote unquote, break over, November, December, January, where you can be working on your research project. In practice, the really difficult thing about this is that it means that you probably need your research project essentially done and dusted before coursework starts in February/March, okay? So if anyone's interested in mid-year entry, and for really good reasons, students obviously finish at the end of first semester and they want to just go straight into honours, come and talk to me. I think it's not a problem doing it. but you have to be the right student in the sense that you need a little bit more of that sort of self-motivation because you're out of cycle with the rest of the students. You still sit down and do all the coursework with the rest of the cohort, so you're still part of that cohort in the second semester, but you're a little bit out of cycle with them in your first semester. So please, please, please talk to me. I've got experience with this now. In fact, the student who's doing it this year, I'm supervising them. Jennifer, she's doing a great job. We had a student last year whose name's now, thank you, Wilton, who has started a PhD as well this year. So, a successful case. So it's very much doable, but if you're interested in mid-year entry, then please talk to me. Other questions? Going once, going twice. Pizza!